As things currently stand, things are looking very dark for the Milwaukee Bucks. They're not winning games. They're not even being competitive in games. They're getting blown out by weak oppositions at time. It's not even the strongest of oppositions who are blowing them out. They just lost to the Minnesota Timberwolves the other day without their stars. It's getting very embarrassing at this point. The vibes, the atmosphere around the Milwaukee Bucks is extremely negative, from the fans to the players to the organization to the front office. And when an organization gets to this point, I just feel like you have to reset. And the big question everybody is asking right now is if Giannis is going to be traded. And in my opinion, I think for both the Milwaukee Bucks and Giannis Antetokounmpo, the best course of action is for Giannis to get traded, because even if you make a couple of moves in the trade deadline, I don't see this team being a contender. There's just a lack of quality and talent on this team to be a true contender, and I think it's time for Giannis to move on. And I want to talk about the Minnesota Timberwolves loss from the Milwaukee Bucks, because this was just completely embarrassing. Anthony Edwards wasn't playing and Rudy Gobert wasn't playing. These guys are two of the most important players for the Minnesota Timberwolves. The Milwaukee Bucks were completely healthy, so we can't go back to the excuse at the start of the season where all the Bucks fans were like, guys, we have so many injuries, wait till Kevin Porter Jr. comes back, we're going to go on a roll. No, this hasn't been the case at all. The Milwaukee Bucks have been playing horrible basketball and they got absolutely blown out by the Minnesota Timberwolves without their stars. This is one of the most embarrassing losses of the season. And it's not even talent that's restricting the Milwaukee Bucks. It's everything. Yes, in comparative to other contenders, do the Bucks have a lot of talent? No. But it's the hustle. It's the work rate. It's the defense. It's the coaching. All these different factors are lacking from the Milwaukee Bucks, and things need to change if they really want to be a serious organization. But in my opinion, it's too late into the season. You can't make any drastic changes that can completely turn around your season from being a lottery team to a contender. The Milwaukee Bucks, in my opinion, should tank and try and get the highest pick possible in the draft. And if you look at Giannis right here, he was getting emotional on the bench. He was literally shedding tears because of how bad the Milwaukee Bucks are. This is how bad it's got at the Milwaukee Bucks. And in my opinion, the most logical thing for Giannis Antetokounmpo to do is request a trade, because a player in his prime, having one of the best offensive seasons of his career, getting wasted like this, it's unacceptable to the sport and game of basketball. We need to see Giannis Antetokounmpo on a contending team playing basketball at the highest level. And the saddest thing happened in the Minnesota Timberwolves versus Milwaukee Bucks game. The Milwaukee Bucks fans started booing the Bucks and Giannis, and rightly so in my opinion, because they've been playing horribly for the last couple of months, and especially in that game. However, Giannis was still playing hard and he got a really good N1 bucket in the second half, and the craziest thing happened. Giannis started booing his own fans back, and I understand the frustration. You've done so much for the organization, and getting booed like that, it must be a terrible feeling. I also want to talk about Doc Rivers, because for me, it is an absolute disgrace that he is still the coach of the Milwaukee Bucks. Ever since he's come to the Bucks, he's made them worse. They've not been a good regular season team. They've barely been over 500, I think. And Bucks basketball, it's just been depressing to watch ever since he's taken over. That's just a fact. And his post-game interview after the Minnesota Timberwolves loss really made me angry, because he made excuses. He said that they came back from a long road trip and the players had tired legs. First of all, the Milwaukee Bucks had a couple of days of rest. Second of all, every single team in the NBA goes through the same experience. That doesn't mean you make excuses for an embarrassing performance. And things like this is why Doc Rivers does not deserve to be an NBA coach, and why people get onto Doc Rivers. Because the guy takes absolutely zero accountability. And the media asked Giannis whether the loss was due to tired legs or the long road trip. And Giannis, the true leader and warrior he is, he said no. That's not an excuse. He dismissed it immediately. He said it's because the Milwaukee Bucks aren't playing well. Simple as. Take accountability. And that is something that Doc Rivers never does and never will do. And to make matters even worse, the Milwaukee Bucks have just got blown out by the San Antonio Spurs. It was so bad that at one point of the game, the San Antonio Spurs were up by almost 40. I repeat, by almost 40. They did not even give the Milwaukee Bucks a chance to get into this game. And look, it's just very depressing to be a Bucks fan right now. They're not competing. The basketball is not fun. There's a lot of negativity surrounding the Milwaukee Bucks. And as I said at the start of the video, I just feel like the best course of action is for Giannis to get traded. I feel like it benefits both parties. For Giannis, you get to be on a winning situation. You have a chance to win a championship. At the Milwaukee Bucks, Giannis has zero chance to win a championship. And for the Milwaukee Bucks, for Giannis, you can get a lot of draft picks and you can get a lot of young talent, and it gives you the opportunity to reset and rebuild. With that being said though, I still feel like the Milwaukee Bucks still have good quality players. You still have Giannis Antetokounmpo, you still have Ryan Rollins, you still have Kevin Porter Jr., you have AJ Green, you have Miles Turner, and I feel like a big reason why the Bucks are losing so much is because of incompetent coaching. You still have NBA caliber players. You got good quality players on that roster, but the coaching has been horrible. I mean, defensively, first of all, there's no versatility in the defensive schemes. Every single time Miles Turner plays to the level of the pick and roll. Why don't you use Miles Turner in the drop more? Why do you keep using that 2-3 zone when you see that the 2-3 zone is not working defensively? Every single time the Milwaukee Bucks play that 2-3 zone defensively, teams get wide open looks and they destroy the Bucks. The Bucks aren't a versatile coaching team. They don't make adjustments. The whole defensive scheme is flawed. And for me, yes, this isn't the most talented group of players, but at the same time, the incompetent coaching is also limiting these players from achieving their full potential. And the sad thing about the Milwaukee Bucks is that they've lost the ability to compete on a nightly basis. I mean, you look at this Eastern Conference, and this is one of the weakest Eastern Conference we've seen in so many years, yet the Milwaukee Bucks are still not in a playoff position, not even a play-in position. They're sitting on the 11th seed right now, and with the talent they have in comparative and in relative to the rest of the Eastern Conference, they should be in a much higher seed, and this is not the case. This is completely unacceptable from the Milwaukee Bucks, and as I previously said, something needs to change. However, the Milwaukee Bucks organization and front office haven't given up yet. They're still being very aggressive in the trade market. They're still trying to pursue a good deal, and these are the potential trades that could completely change and turn around the Milwaukee Bucks season. First of all, the acquisition of Ja Morant. Having Ja Morant and Giannis Antetokounmpo on the same team with elite spacing is just going to be lethal. Ja Morant can be a perfect second option and can be the closer of the team. He's someone who can get downhill at ease, can create for himself, can create for others. This could be a really good deal based on what the Bucks are going to give up. If the Bucks are going to give up Ryan Rollins, forget about this deal, because Ryan Rollins, he is the future of the Milwaukee Bucks, and he's a diamond in the rough that the Milwaukee Bucks have found. He's a really good 3-and-D player, and he's a candidate for the most improved player of the year. Do not trade Ryan Rollins. And then another candidate for the Milwaukee Bucks to get is Michael Porter Jr. Obviously, he's been playing at an all-star level, averaging 26 points per game. However, Brooklyn, they want to lose games to get a high draft pick, so obviously they want to trade Michael Porter Jr. And I feel like the Milwaukee Bucks can definitely give a trade offer to get Michael Porter Jr. Apparently the Golden State Warriors aren't too interested in MPJ no more, so it should be a bit easier for the Bucks to get him. And I feel like he's the better fit because the Bucks really need a wing with size, and that's exactly what Michael Porter Jr. will bring. So out of these two guys, of Ja Morant and Michael Porter Jr., I'm leaning towards Michael Porter Jr. because he suits what the Milwaukee Bucks need currently. But at the end of the day, it doesn't matter how many trades you're going to make. It doesn't matter what superstars you're going to get. You could get prime Michael Jordan, prime Kobe Bryant, prime LeBron James, prime Steph Curry on the same team. As long as Doc Rivers is the coach of the Milwaukee Bucks, the Bucks aren't going anywhere. And the first course of action that the Milwaukee Bucks organization have to do is fire Doc Rivers right now. That is the first course of action if this organization wants to be serious again. Because Doc Rivers' performance as a coach has been absolutely horrible, and any other coach in the NBA would have been fired right now. I have no idea why Doc Rivers has a job, but fire him as soon as possible. And if worse comes to worse and Giannis Antetokounmpo were to ask for a trade, in my opinion, there are two ideal destinations for him. The first one I'm going to be talking about is the Miami Heat. I think Giannis and Miami, they're a match made in heaven. the intensity, the work rate, the work ethic the Miami Heat approach the game of basketball with, it aligns with Giannis's identity and his approach to the game of basketball. And also there's great spacing in Miami, there's great young talent there. And finally, Giannis has the opportunity and chance to be coached under one of the best coaches of all time in Eric Spoelstra. That's an opportunity of a lifetime in my opinion, and I feel like Spoelstra will bring the best out of Giannis. The second ideal destination for me is the San Antonio Spurs. The concept of Wembanyama and Giannis Antetokounmpo on the same team, it's frightening, it's not real, and it's something that should really be explored, because if both of those guys are on the same team, it's genuinely a cheat code. And to finish the video off, no matter how this ends, Giannis Antetokounmpo is a legend, one of the greatest players of all time, and is the greatest player to ever play for the Milwaukee Bucks, and nothing will take away from that. And I just hope, if this is the way it ends, I hope it ends in a nice and cordial fashion. I hope there's no negativity. If the time has come to an end, it is what it is, but there needs to be positive vibes, because what this guy has done for the Milwaukee Bucks organization, words can't put into how much he's done. He came into this organization as an 18-year-old skinny kid, transformed himself into one of the best players in the world, helped this organization become a winning and serious organization, and led them to a championship. He's done everything that's been asked of him to do at the highest level. And if he does leave, he needs to get, serenaded by the Milwaukee Bucks fan. The parade needs to be crazy. Everyone needs to turn up. It needs to be positive vibes, positive atmospheres. But for me personally, I hope that the Milwaukee Bucks figure this out. I hope that Giannis Antetokounmpo stays. I hope that Doc Rivers gets fired. And I also hope that the Milwaukee Bucks front office makes a couple of trades that can make a big difference to this roster. Because this roster still has talent in it. And this roster still has an opportunity to do something. But they need to be proactive and they need to do their work now. What do you guys think about the Milwaukee Bucks right now? Leave your thoughts in the comments. Like, share, subscribe, and peace.